Welcome back students. So let's discuss our topic, that is the Battle of Plassey. As we have discussed this topic in our previous video, that the Battle of Plassey that took place between the Robert Clive and Sirajuddaulah on 23 June 1757. As this battle, what was the reason of this battle and what was the result of this battle, we will see. As we have discussed in the previous video that what was the reason of having this battle, now we will discuss the what was the result of this battle and what was the condition that took place in that time when we had this battle. As Alivardi Khan died in 1756, as he was the Nawab of the Bengal, then Sirajuddaulah became the Nawab of the Bengal. After him, he succeeded and became the Nawab of the Bengal. When Sirajuddaulah became the Nawab of the Bengal, that time also there was a lot of confrontation that was going on between the Britishers and these Nawabs. As these Britishers, they are continuously interfering in the political affairs and not paying the revenues and asking for the more and more concessions. So the infuriated Sirajuddaulah, he asked these Britishers not to meddling in the political affairs and stop fortification and pay the revenue. But these Britishers, they denied, and after negotiation failed means after so many effort of doing or solving this problem, when it is not solved, then the Sirajuddaulah, he took a great step. With the 30,000 of his army, he attacked the Britishers' warehouses and where the British people they were living, and they acquired all the places where the Britishers officials and fort were there. Then this report was directly gone to the officials, the main officials, where the Robert Clive was sent to solve this problem, that what was going on there. Then Robert Clive, what he did, he was not that intelligent as the Sirajuddaulah. He was defeated in the war. Is not because that Sirajuddaulah was a very weak ruler. It is because of the mind of that Robert Clive. What he did, he persuaded the Mir Jafar and said that the Mir Jafar would be nominated as the next Nawab if the Sirajuddaulah will be defeated. Then the Mir Jafar, who was Mir Jafar? Mir Jafar was the chief commander of the Sirajuddaulah, and he never took in the place in the war. He did nothing, and the Sirajuddaulah, he was defeated by the help of the Mir Jafar. And then this was a war that the first time these Britishers, they got the victory over the Bengal. Now we will see that after getting the Mir Jafar, when he was nominated and get the throne and become the Nawab of the Bengal, how did the Battle of Buxar took place. These Britishers, they won the Battle of the Plassey, but as these Britishers, they won the Battle of the Plassey and got the right to do anything in Bengal, but they denied to take the responsibility of the Bengal administration as they wanted to extend their trade. As they were appointing these Nawabs, according to the Robert Clive, as he decided to make the Nawab the Mir Jafar, then the Mir Jafar became the Nawab of the Bengal after the Sirajuddaula. Okay, then this Mir Jafar, in the time of the Mir Jafar, the treasury of the Bengal had become empty because of the paying of the money to the Britishers. In the Mir Jafar time, the Mir Jafar, as he had exempted the Britishers from giving the taxes and also given the concession and grant to the Britishers. Initially years, he supported the Britishers, but later on he opposed them. As these Britishers, they got chance to replace the Mir Jafar, then they replaced the Mir Jafar to Mir Qasim. Mir Qasim was a son-in-law of the Mir Jafar. The Mir Qasim, he knew the intention of the Britishers, that what they wanted to with them. Okay, as he knew the intention of the Britishers, so he wanted to free himself from their influences. What he did to free himself from their influences, he changed his capital from Murshidabad to Moghar and repaired most of the forts of the Britishers. Okay, and he removed the expenditure on administration and removed the servants that are close to Britishers. Then whatever the changes this Mir Qasim was doing, it was not liked by these Britishers, as this company, they decided to throw him from the Nawab post. Okay, then the war took place, and the battle of the Buxar took place on the 22 October 1764. In this war, the Mir Qasim, Shah Alam II and Sirajuddaula, they aligned with each other and fought against the British. Okay, and the result of this war was they defeated, and the treaty of the Allahabad was taken place, and it was taken 1765. In this treaty, the Britishers, they got the Diwani right. Diwani right means they got the right to collect the revenue from the 3 states, that is Bengal, Bihar or Odisha. But there was one more thing, that the dual government was introduced. Dual government means as these Britishers, they got the right of the Diwani, but the administration, the power of the administration would have with the ruler only. Then these Britishers, they replaced the Mir Qasim to the Mir Jafar again. The Mir Jafar, he was reinstalled, means he came back, and he came back with the treaty that he will be paying the 5 lakh rupees per month. And after the death of Mir Jafar, these Britishers, the Robert Clive, he thought that the appointing of these puppet Nawab is not a good idea, so he thought to be himself as a Nawab, and he later on the Britishers, they himself called the Nawab, and Nawab is the Britishers. Now we will discuss this topic, the Nawab or Naboobs. As Robert Clive declared himself as a Nawab, so before getting as Robert Clive declared himself as a Nawab, and he got Diwani right to collect the revenue, to collect the vast revenue to fulfill its desire. But prior of it, before it, when they were not having this Diwani right and all, so they used to buy silk, textile, maintain company troops, building and fort with the gold that they were carrying from the Britain to India. Okay, and they were facing a lot of loss of the gold, so it was a great loss for them. So whenever they got this Diwani right, they are capable of buying such stuff with the money only. Now they stopped to carrying the gold from Britain to India. Okay, as these Nabobs are the English version of the Nawabs and Anglicized version, we can say. Okay, now these Nawabs are none other than the British, and the British are the Nawab only. And these company acquired more power and authority. What does this mean? The company acquired more power and authority, as the company now they are the calling themselves the Nawab, as the Robert Clive declared himself as the Nawab. So now he got the power and authority, but in spite of getting this power and authority, they want to get these Diwani right, because of to get more and more money, so that whenever they will return from India to Britain, so they can live a very fleshy life, very we can say very luxurious life, and they can flaunt themselves. This Robert Clive, when he came to India, came to India in 18 years, from the England to Madras in 1743, he had a very less money. He came in a very less money, but when he returned from India to England in 1767, he had a huge amount of money, like 102 pound, means 4 lakh pound. He had 4 lakh pound that time. And in 1764, the Robert Clive, in 1764, he appointed as a governor of Bengal to to remove the corruption in the company administration, as he himself was a corrupted, as he killed the Sirajuddaulah, and he acquired the Bengal in stabbing in the back of the Sirajuddaulah, as he pursued the Mir Jafar for that. Okay, so then in 1772, the British Parliament, they got suspicious on the Robert Clive, that the huge amount, that the vast that property as he having, so where he got it. So in 1774 he committed suicide. Let's discuss more about the Naboo. British officials such as Clive managed to return to Britain with wealth, led fleshy lives, and flaunted their riches. They were called Naboos, were seen as upstarts, and were ridiculed in their society. Naboo is the anglicized version of the word Nawab. Our next topic is the company rules explained. If we analyze the process of annexation of Indian states, so we will see that this from 1700 to 57 to 1857, they did not use any of the direct military attack. And instead of using the direct military attack, they used some of the policies, that political, economical and diplomatic method to annex, to have a great influence in the most of the states and the annexation process. And now we will see what are the method and what are the rules they use to annex these the Indian territory. Let's see. After the Battle of Buxar, the company appointed residents in Indian states. The company's rule expanded rapidly. The prompt annexation of Indian states
took place between 1757 to 1857. This was due to a few of the policies that were adopted by the British. The three policies were subsidiary alliance, claim to paramountcy, and doctrine of lapse. We will discuss these topics in our next video. Till then, stay happy, stay safe.